What if everything you've been told about women is a lie? Not a conspiracy, not some dark secret, but a comfortable lie. One that men cling to because the truth is too unsettling. Society paints women as gentle, nurturing, morally pure, angels who exist to soften the rough edges of the world. But what if that image is just a performance? A role women learned to play because the game was rigged from the start? And what if one of history's most controversial thinkers, Friedrich Nietzsche, saw through it all, not out of hatred but brutal honesty? He didn't hate women. He didn't worship them either. He did something far more dangerous. He saw them as they really were. And what he exposed will change how you see love, power, and the silent war between the sexes forever. Nietzsche had a simple, devastating observation. Men don't love women. They love the idea of women. A fantasy, projection, a perfect, morally superior creature who exists to inspire them, comfort them, and complete them. But here's the problem: that woman doesn't exist. She's a myth, a story men tell themselves because the real woman, complex, strategic, fully human, is too terrifying to face. Think about it. How many men fall in love with the potential of a woman, not the person? How many get angry when she doesn't fit the role they imagined for her? Nietzsche called this romantic idealization, and it's not love, it's cowardice. Because deep down, men don't want a partner. They want a mirror, one that reflects back their own fantasies. A woman who's sweet, fragile, in need of protection, because that makes him feel strong, necessary. But here's the truth Nietzsche saw: women aren't weak. They never were. They just learned to play weak in a world where brute force ruled. While men built empires with swords, women mastered something far more powerful: influence. Not through domination, but strategy. Not through force, but perception. And Nietzsche didn't blame them. He admired it. Because in a society that denied them power, women became experts at wielding it invisibly. But this isn't about praising or condemning anyone. It's about ripping off the mask. Because as long as men keep believing the lie, as long as they keep loving the fantasy instead of the human, they'll never know real love. Only self-deception. And that deception? It's the root of every failed relationship, every bitter breakup, every man who wakes up one day and thinks, she changed. No, she didn't. You just stopped pretending. Nietzsche didn't just expose the lie men believe, he exposed the game they never realized they were losing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women have been playing chess while men were playing checkers. For centuries, men held all the obvious power: kings, soldiers, CEOs, rulers. But while men were busy flexing muscles and shouting orders, women mastered something far more subtle: the art of indirect control. Think about it. In a world where women couldn't vote, own property, or even speak freely in public, how did they survive? How did they shape history without armies or titles? Simple. They weaponized perception. Nietzsche saw it clearly. Women became experts in soft power, charm, emotional intelligence, social maneuvering. They didn't need to force men to do anything. They just had to inspire them. A smile that disarms, a tear that manipulates, a whispered suggestion that feels like his idea. This isn't manipulation out of malice, it's survival instinct. When you're denied direct power, you learn to work the shadows. And Nietzsche respected that, because while men were busy swinging swords, women were quietly steering the hands that held them. He wrote, "Women are much more artistic than men. They design reality while men brute force it." Translation: men build kingdoms. Women build the men who build kingdoms. But here's where it gets dangerous. Most men still don't see it. They mistake a woman's softness for weakness, her silence for submission. Big mistake. When you underestimate someone's power just because it doesn't look like yours, you've already lost. Nietzsche warned, beware the woman who wields her fragility like a blade. And today, that warning is more relevant than ever. Because the game has changed. Women aren't confined to the shadows anymore. They're CEOs, politicians, warriors, no longer just whispering influence but claiming power outright. And the men who still believe the old lie, they're the ones screaming, feminism went too far, when really, they're just mad the game got fair. But this isn't about blame, it's about awakening. Because the first step to real power for both sexes is seeing the game for what it is. And Nietzsche's question still haunts us. What happens when the silent strategists stop being silent? Here's the brutal reality most men refuse to face. They don't just love women, they fear them. Not in the way you'd fear a threat, but in the way you'd fear losing control. Nietzsche saw it first. The ideal woman, the one men fantasize about, isn't just beautiful or kind. She's safe, predictable, dependent. But a woman who doesn't need him, a woman who owns her sexuality, her ambition, her anger, that woman terrifies him. Why? Because deep down, men know a woman who can walk away holds all the power. Nietzsche called this the death of sentimentality. The moment a man realizes his romantic fantasies are just that, fantasies, and the woman in front of him is real. Not a muse, not a moral guide, not a prize to be won. Just human. And that's the crisis. Because if she's human, then she's free. Free to reject him. Free to outgrow him. Free to want more than he's willing to give. And nothing scares a man more than a woman he can't define. Think about it. Why do men panic when a woman is too independent? Why do they call her cold when she sets boundaries? Why do they resent her sexual past but brag about their own? It's not logical. It's fear. Fear of being unnecessary. Nietzsche put it bluntly, man wants woman to be peaceful, but it is the unpeaceful woman who has the greatest reverence in herself. Translation: men say they want nice girls, but they're drawn to the ones who refuse to be tamed, because those women remind them of the truth. Love isn't ownership, and that's the hardest pill to swallow. Most men don't actually want equality, they want security. A world where they're still the hero, the provider, the one in charge. But Nietzsche warned, that world is over. And the men who cling to it, they're not loving women, they're negotiating with them. This raises the real question. What does love look like when neither side is afraid? Nietzsche didn't just expose the lies, he offered a way out. But it's not for the faint of heart. Because real love, according to him, isn't about safety. It's about truth. Most relationships, they're transactions. Men trade protection for admiration. Women trade charm for security. It's not love, it's mutual deception. But Nietzsche imagined something beyond that. A love where no one plays the savior. No one hides behind roles. Two people meet, not as fantasies, but as equals in darkness. Flawed, powerful, and fully awake. This isn't romance. It's warrior love, the kind that demands both people burn their illusions first. Think about it. Why do so many marriages crumble after years? Why do passion and resentment feel like two sides of the same coin? Because most love is built on need, not choice. On dependency, not freedom. Nietzsche's brutal insight? It is not a lack of love, but a lack of courage that destroys relationships. Courage to see each other. Courage to outgrow each other. Courage to love without control. This terrifies people, because it means a man must stop needing a woman to be weak so he can feel strong. A woman must stop needing a man to be fooled so she can feel safe. No more games, no more masks, just two people standing naked in the truth of who they are and choosing each other anyway. But here's the catch. This kind of love is rare, because most people would rather cling to lies than face reality. Nietzsche knew that. He also knew, the greatest relationships don't begin with happily ever after. They begin with we're done lying. So here we are, at the edge of the cliff. Nietzsche didn't just tear down the lies, he forced us to face a choice. Do we keep pretending? Do men keep clinging to the fantasy of the perfect woman? Soft, sweet, dependent, while secretly resenting her for being human? Do women keep playing the old game, wielding charm as armor, trading compliance for security, while quietly outgrowing the men who refuse to evolve? Or do we burn it all down? Because that's the real question Nietzsche was asking. What happens when we stop performing and start being? He didn't have some naive, hopeful answer. He knew the cost. It means men must let go of the ego boost they get from being needed. It means women must let go of the safety net of manipulation. It means both must stare into the abyss of real intimacy, where no one is saved, no one is owed, and love is a choice, not a contract. This isn't about men versus women. It's about truth versus comfort. And Nietzsche's final warning? The lie is comfortable. The truth is alive. So here's your choice. Keep the masks on. Keep the game going. Keep pretending love is about control, not courage. Or step into the fire. Love without ownership. Want without demand. See each other fully, not as roles, but as people. It's harder. It's messier. It will wreck you before it frees you. But Nietzsche would ask, what's the alternative? Another century of silent wars? Another lifetime of hollow victories? The dangerous lie isn't just about women. It's about all of us. And the truth? It's waiting. If this hits something real in you, if you're tired of the games, the roles, the unspoken contracts, drop a comment below. Tell me, which lie are you ready to burn? And if you want more raw, unfiltered truth about power, love, and the human condition, hit subscribe. Because of this conversation is just starting.